if you allow me to talk in Arabic to explain myself.
Please let me, I explain myself. I want to speak in Arabic. It will not be a discourse or speech based on the nature of this session here, and reduce my intervention to 10 minutes, mainly to lessons learned from the past, and secondly, reasons for the strengthening of Daesh and the appearance and the strengthening of Daesh. First, the states have to recognize that they are not immune against terrorism, whether it's Europe or United States or any other country in the world, or countries like the France is there's a threat against France, there's threats against, like in Jordan, like in Syria or in other. Recognizing the mistakes of the past. We have to deal with this seriously. The international community that was mistaken in Iraq, where the United States and the UK have destroyed a big part of Iraq and left more than 1 million victims. Now we are paying the price now. This happened also in Libya for personal reason. NATO went and destroyed what they wanted, and they left the Libyan people trying to fighting each other. Thirdly, there is no good or bad terrorism. Few Arab countries have been dealing with Arab countries are dealing with some organizations as for political reason. But for me, terrorism is terrorism. In the past, some used to say Muslim brothers are good, but and then came Daesh, Al Qaeda, and Daesh. I hope not to hear from United States or Europe that Al Qaeda terrorism is less than the Daesh terrorism.
It is the dedication of religion and everything in religion to its theological and political ideas. The fourth point, the exploitation of that terrorism is doing. Terrorism is, we are facing terrorism, and that has happened. What we have seen now is also the prosperity, so to speak, of Daesh. First, there are no serious solutions for the Palestinian cause, and sometimes we think that this is strange that we hear from me talking about it in Europe. What about the Palestinian cause, and what has Israel to do with this issue? The basics of terrorism, which has developed in the past 30 years, when the Arab citizen or a Muslim, that a child is burned in Palestine, that has accumulated a problem and escalated the problem and led to recruitment, and also the Palestinian cause was used as a pretext by bin Laden, and it will be a good commodity to promote and to market in the Arab world. So this is the best way in order to justify the terrorism committed by Daesh and Al Qaeda. So this is the new version. Daesh is the new version of Al Qaeda, and possibly within the coming years we will see another version of Al Qaeda. We used to hear about Al Qaeda, now we hear about Daesh. We did not tackle the problems and the causes of this phenomena. So, secondly, the international community has failed in meeting the prospects of the Islamic and Arab communities. third point is enhancing and using political Islam by the Western world and Israel and the United States against the Arab countries. And I don't want to give more examples, but I would like to say one example that Al-Qaeda is a cause of intervention in Afghanistan, and it was supported by the Americans, and it has the Arab countries have also contributed in the support of Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. So, and in the beginning of the 30s, the Muslim Brothers was supported by Britain. And also Hamas was supported to some extent in order to be used against the national movement of Palestine, the political deployment of sectarianism in Iraq and Lebanon and Syria and in many other countries. Fifth point, failure of Arab countries in meeting up this prospects and aspiration of its people. We don't throw all the mistakes of the Arab region and Arab countries and we say we blame the Westerners and the Europeans for the faults what has happened, but there are also problems in Tunisia, and these problems caused frustration, and that has paved the way for terrorism in these countries. And some leaders of Arab countries have used some forms of political Islam in order to maintain power. And then the seventh point is the tolerance of Islam. Some groups of Islam have confiscated the tolerance, the concept of tolerance in Islam. What we see, the version that we see by Daesh is not the real version of Islam. That with the version of Islam, real Islam, calls for and also promotes for what we hear from Al-Qaradawi or what we hear from Al-Qaeda and Daesh is a new version of Islam. That's why, please, we should not connect what Daesh is doing with the real Islam. Also, some European countries have failed to some extent in the integration process of some people who are originally coming from Arab countries. So terrorism is that we would see in Syria, we see some foreign fighters in Syria and also foreign fighters coming from France, from Germany. They speak Arabic, but we see also foreign fighters who are born in your countries, in Western countries. They were born and raised in, and then we see them in Iraq and Syria. So that's why I would like to propose all those terrorists should go back to their countries. We are talking about 7,000 elements, militants coming from Russia, from other countries, from many countries in Europe coming to Syria, Libya, and Iraq. Ninth point is in improving the communication means and the globalization that has also an influence, that has the globalization of terrorism, transnational means and approaches. There are Christians from Balkan countries. They went to Syria in order to make a holy war and to join Al-Qaeda and Daesh. The Christians, I'm talking about Christians, they are not Muslims that came from countries like Croatia, and I don't want to mention countries, but they went to Raqqa and Syria in order to join Daesh.
Suggested solution. I think all past instruments used in the past are not more valid for what we face today. Solution should include ideological solution. Islam has changed in the new concepts of Islam by these people. So it should be ideological, security solution, the religious solution. I mean propaganda, against the propaganda of Daesh. It is our responsibility in our countries. We'll have to really to let people know what are the real concepts, precepts of Islam, the real Islam. Secondly, that the buzz should be done through the Mecca, Al-Azhar in Egypt, and Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. those who can understand this religion can, and where this religion has evolved and developed, these people can really change and face this propaganda of Daesh. Political solution. I will try to get really to the shorts. Dealing with this terrorist organization should not be subject to interest of this country. Some European countries, for example, say this organization is terrorist, and then after a few years they change, and then they start to deal with this organization as a non-terrorist organization. We are not working with you as by remote control. Certain time, Hezbollah is a terrorist, and then another situation case is not a terrorist. I remember also President Obama talking about Muslim brothers. They are not terrorists. Now they are terrorists, according to him. So we are not working with the remote control. That a terrorist has reached your countries. This is a problem. We are sad what happened, because here in France, we are proud what Europe has done to the civilization, and we don't want you to deal with your ways as with your situation as we in the Arab countries deal with our situation. I mean, please deal with the region in a different way. Terrorism will destroy everything, and practically the war and destruction will be spread everywhere. If there is no real coordination, and with the Arab countries, there will be a difficult problem.
The security solution, I would like to leave it to the answering the questions, should they come from the floor, because it's very evident that you have good ideas about counter-terrorism strategies and practices. That's why I would like to learn from your experience in counter-terrorism, and also from your military experiences. I hope that there will be serious coordination with other countries, between you, Western Europeans, and I would like to mention that the international community has destroyed Iraq, Syria, and Libya, and then you have the consequences is that you had thousands of refugees coming from these countries. In those 3,000 countries, in these thousands of refugees, there were terrorists. So I would like you to tackle this problem. Thank you so much.